Hello everyone, Railgan here again with another ZvT, and today we're having a look at a game that I played against is he a pro gamer? I don't know, he's on Team Dust, his name is Jens and he is a pretty good Terran player. And today's game is going to be in the spirits of the MECH. As always, if you are interested in the replay, you can download the replay in the description below. I'm not going to go over everything in detail, so if you want to check on anything yourself, you are free to download the replay as well as all my other replays on SC2 replay stats. We're going for that same drop opener that I showed yesterday. I think it's not going to go that well, but we're trying some fancy stuff here. What I really want to focus on is the positional play that will take place in the later stages of this game, and I want to focus on how I will eventually outmaneuver the MECH player. What I'm doing right here is I'm forcing some links across the map, but at the same time I also have a lot of queens and links at home that I can morph into banes, because I realize he's most likely going for some sort of hellbad aggression right here, because he was being very conservative with his Hellions. So we're going to have some double pronged attack stuff going on over here. First I have to defend at home. Transfuse! Well, I'll take it. Over here I'm dropping some links, I'm dropping links in the main, and he has to, well, he has to defend on both fronts, but I think he does a pretty good job at defending. I couldn't morph banelings because I had to morph the banelings at home so I can actually kill his hellbats. He's doing a good job defending in his main as well. Morphing some banelings over there. Eventually the drop in his natural does get the kills, because he doesn't really have a unit that can shoot up. He's only now building a Viking. Here come two more banelings being dropped in his main, killing even more workers. A total of 21 workers killed with those, I think was it 5 or 6 banelings, I don't know. Overall I'm pretty happy with how things turned out. I'm getting a lair. I am putting building a lot of drones. At the same time I'm being attacked by ravens constantly. They got a couple of kills, but nothing too bothersome. Units lost, we are about even, so even though I killed a lot of workers, we're still only even in units lost. Here's another small attack in my main, but I really don't want to pay too much attention anymore to what is going to happen in the next couple minutes, because in the grand scheme of things it won't really matter. It's going to be all about that late game, or rather mid game MECH play, where my opponent is going to do some fancy tank stuff. But we have more hellbats over here that I'm cleaning up. I'm trying to spread creep. I'm going for a Lingbane Hydra composition eventually into Swarm Host. And I'm also preparing potential lurkers. I only now figured out that I'm actually playing against MECH, so usually I would get the missile upgrade. I know the frame rate is a little bit low, but that's just because I have to speed through this part of the game, because else it would just take forever. And we don't want to watch 20-minute long videos where we analyze how to deal with the 14th alien attack at my 28th base, right? I'm going for a lot of drones, almost 100 drones. My opponent is playing a very turtley pushy style with a lot of planetaries. I don't know, he's just going to slam down planetaries all over the map. One here, then another one here. I'm doing some Swarmhost harassment over here. It's actually pretty important that I do this, because it forces him to leave tanks at home. Then he has the planetary in the middle of the map. I added some infestors because I wanted to fungal him, or maybe throw neural parasite, don't actually know. Either way, I noticed that he is unsieged right here, so I go for this little push right before the planetary finishes as well. Had I not been able to do that, this all would have been a lot more difficult to win this game. Because if he sets up over here, it can be kind of hard to break the contain. I would have needed to throw a lot of locusts at him to eventually break, and like this I got him while he was setting up and was able to break it pretty easily. Yeah, he's trying really hard to build additional command centers so he can set up his planetaries. There's also a planetary being set up over here, and planetaries are really hard to kill. Some more workers fell over there, but not that many, I think. We're here, Infestor, I'm not sure how this one got lost, but well, there is an Infestor here. I'm just scouting the area with Swarm Host, but I realized that I can't really do much over there. And we're still not at the very interesting part of the game, but I figured it was still important that I show you guys how we actually get there. Because what I'm starting to realize is that this Terran is spreading himself pretty thin. So he is expanding down here. He is expanding in the middle of the map. He wants to push me through this area. And at the same time he wants to also hold the base over here. So I figured, even though planetaries are pretty hard to break, there has to be a way to break this Terran. He doesn't really have that much anti-air, but there are a lot of Vikings in the air and even a couple force, which makes it really hard for me to commit to any kind of mutalist composition. Vipers are also kind of hard to get good use of against mass Vikings if they manage to land the good snipes. So I felt like I was in a bit of a weird position right here. I really wanted to break this planetary so that I can then drop him down here. Because as long as the planetary is here, I cannot really drop him because all the drops would fly over this planetary and the missile turrets that are positioned here, which means I have to fly all the way down here, and I don't know, just figured that it would be kind of hard for me to push him down there with drops if he has a planetary there. Because it's also hard to drop from here to here into a planetary. So I have a couple Ultralisks, I have some drop overlords ready to go. I am building some Vipers because, well, Parasitic Bomb can and will be very important in the fights. Trying to save some Swarm Hosts, burrowed them, but he immediately scanned. He's now expanding over here as well, so we're still seeing that very, very quick expansion out of my opponent. Now here is where I first tried to do something fancy. I'm loading Ultralisks into the Overlords, but he has so many Vikings, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea. What I wanted to do was drop Ultralisks on top of his army, but I realized that I cannot send the Overlords in because the Vikings would just kill all the Overlords. So I then tried to go in here either way. The drop Ultralisks don't really work out, but I still managed to clean him up because he's just spreading himself so very thin. As I said before, if you just put a tank line across half of the map, then the tank line is going to be not very effective because only half your units are fighting at any given time. Despite all that, he still takes pretty good trades, and I have a huge bank, so I can immediately rebuild pretty much everything I lose. But what is important for me is to kill this area down here. I really want to deny this space or deny this space. And the way I want to do that is by doing a multi-pronged attack. So the first step is to drop him in his main. I have to somehow make him put units here. And the way I do that is by sending 3 Overlords down there to drop some Hydralisks and Ultralisks and distract him. At the same time, I'm going to push him over here. I originally wanted to push down this part of the map to this planetary and deny that one again, but I realized that if I do that, then his army will be down here anyways. Then the Vikings and Force or whatever will just clean up the drop as well, and I will just lose both parts of the army. So what I do instead is I take just one part of my army. I still have some at home because I'm going to need to defend this push as well, and attack him over here, which will prompt him to attack into me. At the same time, I'm dropping him in his main. Sadly, the drops do kind of get cleared up, and I only managed to land a total of 6 Hydras out of the 8 Hydras and 1 Ultra. Then I keep pushing him down here. I keep pushing him in his main base, and he's also pushing me at the same time. So I first have to hold this push right now, which the push does look somewhat scary. The Ultra is super quickly against all the force. I'm trying to put some parasitic bombs on the Vikings. I first wanted to land the Planning Cloud, but I figured that the Ravens and Vikings could get very dangerous against my Hydras. So I decided to just throw down the parasitic bombs instead. Another small thing that I did while that fight was going on. Let's go one more back, sorry. I have to, first of all, I have to attack this base over here, so I'm just going to send these units back here, like the small army over there. And then I'm checking down here and I see that he has Hellbats and tanks there, and they're obviously going to clean up these Hydras. So what I do is I just take all the Hydras and drop them down here, and because he does not have any Vikings in his main, he can't actually clean up these Hydras. So now I'm denying this base as well. So I just denied 3 bases total, because he's also going to lose this base, which means that he lost every single base he was trying to expand to at the same time while I'm defending this push. Because the problem that he has in this push is that he has almost no Hellbats, so I'm just spamming Lings. If he has no Hellbats, then he cannot kill the Lings. I'm making some banings right now in case Hellbats would show up. But I'm just slowly nagging away at this army, trying to push it back. I still have a huge bank and most of my supply is in the ultras that are still hatching. The army that cleaned up the part of the expansions over there is now joining the fight as well. Even made some banelings to, I don't know. Well, they were originally intended to kill the Hellbats, but because no Hellbats showed up, they have to kill other stuff. Then he loses the Vikings as well, and with the Vikings he pretty much loses the game. What I do now is I'm going for an attack over here, because I realize that this is like the only area on the map that he still controls. I could push down here again, but I noticed that he didn't expand there yet and he's just now landing the CC. So I'm pushing him in his 3rd base. At the same time, I have to defend against these Hellbats, these Hellions, which is not that hard. I'm setting up some flanks, or rather I tried to set up some flanks, but these didn't really work out. Now I'm sending these Ultralisks down here to clean up this base. Sadly, most of them will get lost and attack these tanks instead. I'm also going for another attack through this part of the map. I have the Hydras over here that are cleaning things up. They're pretty spread out, so not everything dies to the tank walls immediately, and he just has to GG out as I keep streaming Ultralisks across the map. So I hope you guys enjoyed this a little bit different video on how to deal with MECH, where we just attacked him out at all the different places, down here, over here, defended the attack here, then attacked him here, attack him here, attack him through this area. Just continuous floods of units through every possible alley. And if you're interested, this was our APM. Our units lost. Workers killed. Yeah, here you can see I lost 17 Ultralisks total and he lost 39 tanks. As well as 6 force. 20 Vikings, 29 Hellbats. Should have made more Hellbats. Like he made far too few Hellbats. Also lost 371 Lings. 4 Lings. But yeah, was a fun game. Hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.